the arrow. Let's get back to what Joe Biden was doing and not doing. Number one, since 2014, he has not had a prostate exam, a PSA test, which requires a blood test. That, according to his, I don't believe anything coming out of there.
Me either.
But now their official spokesperson said this. As you know, he's got devastating prostate cancer. President Biden's last known PSA test, 2014. Prior to Friday, President Biden had never been diagnosed with prostate cancer. Well, if you don't test for it, how are you going to be diagnosed for it? So they say there is some medical recommendation that says after the age of 69, don't do it. You shouldn't really do it because they consider because it's typically slow growing. The potential benefits also have some harms, and they say if sometimes false positives happen. And also the screenings can cause unnecessary biopsies or treatments or patient anxiety. But it's a national security thing. Forget about Joe Biden's health. If you're the President of the United States, it's national security to see if you are healthy or not. How could you not take a simple blood test?
We're treating him like he was just some other individual when he's the president of the United States. And for all the people in the Democratic media or the Democrat strategists that are saying that we should not be questioning the statement here, well, you've been lying to us. Apparently since 2016, I'm sorry, I don't believe the statement. I want to hear more evidence that you guys didn't test him until 20.
He's got probably the worst.
It just doesn't make
America,
sense to me.
By the way.
I was shocked to hear that his last PSA test was 9 years ago. He was the vice president then. He was 72 years old. I know that the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force recommends that it's really for men 55 to 69. But if there's any example, it's the president of the United States. You should be tested for everything. And I'm sure he is so upset right now because it's spread, it's stage 4. All of this could have been prevented with one blood test. So I'm sure he's had blood work done over the last, 9 years. They should just test for everything, especially if you're president.
So here's some of the...
it's getting worse.
Yeah, here's some of the claims that have emerged from this book that we think are noteworthy. Also noteworthy that Jake Tapper in particular decided he wanted the story after he already was out of office. Said 5 people were running the country, and Joe Biden was at best the senior member of the board. Who are those 5 people? Not even cabinet members who couldn't see him over the last year. They were probably Mike Donnellan is number 1. You have...
well, there's allegations that Hunter Biden was the de facto chief of staff as well. But here's another quote. The weekend before Hunter's trial began, Biden again offered to testify, the president of the United States offered to testify or come to court despite his packed schedule.
I'm sure his people said, no way are you getting on the stand to testify.
That's why they sent Jill.
Yeah, we saw what he's like in public during the debate. They also wrote in the book, the Biden campaign and White House operatives now had a modus operandi for attacking any journalists who covered any questions about the president's age, enlisting a core of social media influencers, progressive reporters, and Democratic operatives to besmirch as unprofessional and biased those in the media investigating this line of inquiry.
Well, go ahead.
The one thing that I'd like to bring up, number 1, is that Joe Biden was bad when he took office. He didn't just get bad,
right.
Number 1. Number 2, his story is not about running for re-election, is who is running the country, not somebody we elected. And number 3 is in 2020, they talked about how he couldn't get through and do 1 minute off the cuff into the camera. A 7th grader can pick up a camera and talk about their day. He couldn't do that in 2020 to the point where their professional crew said, this is all unusual. It was a staged town hall.
They decided that he couldn't do a real town hall. So the administration got together and they did this fake town hall that they were just going to use for commercials. Well, he couldn't even make it through the fake town hall that they were just going to use for commercials. There's not... A town is supposed to be pushed back, have unbiased questions. They can be supporters of yours, but it gives people, random people, the opportunity to ask the questions.
So in 2020, 5 years ago, one of the guys who wrote this book is Jake Tapper. And part of the book is about the cover-up of Joe Biden's mental decline, right? 5 years ago, he interviewed Laura Trump, and he shut down the interview because she talked about his mental decline. Watch this.
What we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
You are
to watch somebody on stage search for
This is so amazing.
questions.
It's so amazing to me. I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline.
It's incredible. How do you do a book about the cover-up when you were a part of the cover-up?
And he said that he had called Lara Trump and apologized. And he says, I'll let her characterize that opinion. I also think that these guys made money. This Jen O'Malley made $300,000 for the failed campaign. This clown, Mike Donnellan, made $4 million to get him reelected. And he said, give him the money. It's a ridiculous sum of money. He still has the money, and he is part of the cover-up. You've got to say the architect. And if you want to know what the future of the Democratic Party is, Antonio Villarosa, who is the former mayor, is going to run for governor. He called out Kamala Harris and Xavier Becerra, they're all Democrats, for allowing for they say they took an oath of office and trusted to protect the American people, but instead Kamala Harris repeatedly said there was nothing wrong with Joe Biden, and Becerra took a blind eye. That's the future of the Democratic Party. Who knew and who didn't? And if you knew, you have a scarlet letter.
And now Jake Tapper's making money on the very thing he shut down Lara Trump for.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm all for Democrats coming on our show and coming on the program, but when they continue to lie about this issue, you're not going to have any credibility with our audience. I mean, they just lie. We bring these strategists on and these politicians on, and they all say, I did not know. How could you not have known? All of us saw it.
We also wanted to share a really cute story because yesterday was Bring Your Child to Work Day at the White House. Caroline Leavitt, who's the press secretary, she fielded questions from the children of journalists. Watch this.
How many people has he fired?
How many people has he fired? Thus far, actually, we have not had anyone fired with the exception of one individual who did leave their job. What is President Trump's favorite food? Well, President Trump loves a lot of different foods, but I think his favorite is probably steak.
What's Donald Trump's favorite ice cream? He wants to know.
Ooh. I have seen the president eat ice cream sundaes before. Raise your hand if you like ice cream sundaes.
What's his favorite child?
That is a very controversial question, and I am not going to answer it. I know he loves all of his children very much, and they're all great kids.
I mean, tough questions for those kids.
That's fantastic.
Another one asked, does he like to give hugs? And she said, yes, I've seen him give his kids hugs, grandkids hugs, and Melania hugs. Someone said if he had a superpower, what would it be? And she said to snap his fingers and solve all of the country's problems in one snap. Melania was also there. She spent time with the children outside of the White House, and many of them were wearing Gulf of America hats.
My favorite question was one of the kids asked Caroline, which press organization do you dislike the most? And she goes, is this a Stafford kid right here? She goes, it depends on which day you ask me which one I dislike the most.
Look how cute they are. This one in the right-hand corner is facing the other way. They are darling.
I like that they're all dressed up.
They're really cute.
Raising their hands.
I know. I wish I knew who their parents were.
Right.
I need to see pictures of their parents.
Well, fun day at the White House.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.